Good morning everyone. This is class 12th subject chemistry chapter 7 of NCERT book P block elements lecture number 12. In this lecture I will be discussing the physical and the chemical properties of group 18 elements. So first we start with physical properties. In the last lecture we discussed the atomic properties of group 18 elements. Now we discuss the physical properties of group 18 elements. All the noble gases are monoatomic and they are colorless, odorless and tasteless. Next is group 18th elements. They are sparingly soluble in water and have very low value of melting and boiling point. And the reason behind the low value of melting and boiling point is in group 18th elements the interatomic interaction is weak dispersion forces, and because of weak dispersion forces they have very low value of melting and boiling point. And in group 18 elements helium has the lowest boiling point. So these are the physical properties of group 18 elements. Now we will discuss the chemical properties of group 18 elements. In general, noble gases are least reactive and their inertness to chemical reactivity is attributed to the following reasons. First is noble gases except helium have completely filled NH2-NP6 electronic configuration in their valence shell, and that is why they are least reactive. Second reason is they have high value of ionization enthalpy and positive value of electron gain enthalpy. So these are the two reasons which make group 18 elements least reactive. Whereas in 1962 Neil Bartlett at the University of British Columbia observed the reaction of a noble gas. First he prepared a red compound which is formulated as O2 positive PtF6 negative. He then realized that the first ionization enthalpy of molecular oxygen, that is 1175, which was almost identical with that of xenon, that is 1170 kJ per mole. That is why he made efforts to prepare same compounds with xenon and was successful in preparing another red compound, that is Xg positive PtF6 negative, by mixing PtF6 and xenon. After this discovery, a number of xenon compounds, mainly with most electronegative elements like fluorine and oxygen, have been synthesized. So what Neil Bartlett did, first he made a compound with molecular oxygen and PtF6. Red colored compound was obtained, and when he observed that the first ionization enthalpy of O2 and xenon was almost identical, so he tried with xenon and PtF6, and this compound, red colored compound, that is Xg positive PtF6 negative, was formed. And after that a number of xenon compounds are formed, and xenon compounds mainly with most electronegative elements like fluorine and oxygen have been synthesized. So compounds of xenons are known, and the compounds of krypton are very less. Only the difluoride has been studied in detail, that is, for krypton only KrF2 difluoride has been studied in detail, and no true compounds of argon, neon and helium are yet known. So these are the compounds of group 18 elements. Now we will do xenon fluoride compounds and xenon oxygen compounds. So first we start with xenon fluoride compounds. So here are three compounds, that is xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. So first we start with the preparation, and after that we will discuss the properties of these compounds. So first reaction is when we treat xenon with fluorine, and when xenon is taken in excess at 673 Kelvin and 1 bar pressure, here xenon difluoride is formed. Next is, if we take xenon and fluoride in 1:5 ratio, then at 873 Kelvin and 7 bar pressure, xenon tetrafluoride is formed. The reaction is xenon plus fluorine in 1:5 ratio at 873 Kelvin and 7 bar pressure, xenon tetrafluoride is formed. Third reaction is if we want to prepare xenon hexafluoride. So it will be when we take xenon and fluorine into 1:20 ratio at 573 Kelvin and 60 to 70 bar pressure, then this xenon hexafluoride is formed. Also, xenon hexafluoride is formed by the reaction of xenon tetrafluoride with O2F2, and here we are getting xenon hexafluoride. So these are the preparation reaction of xenon fluoride compounds. Next is properties of xenon fluoride compounds. Xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride, xenon hexafluoride all are colorless crystalline solids and sublimes at 298 Kelvin. These are powerful fluorinating agents and these compounds are hydrolyzed by traces of water. The reaction with xenon difluoride is when we treat xenon difluoride with water. So here we are getting xenon, hydrogen fluoride and oxygen. So this is the hydrolysis reaction for xenon difluoride. Now next reaction is xenon difluoride also react with phosphorus pentafluoride and the compound is XeF positive PF6 negative. That is, xenon fluoride reacts with fluoride ion acceptors to form cationic species and fluoride ion donors to form fluoroanions. Next reaction is when we treat xenon tetrafluoride with SbF5. So the reaction is XeF3 positive, that is cationic part, and SbF6 negative, that is the anionic part. Next is if we treat xenon hexafluoride with metal fluoride, where metal M is monovalent metal, that is sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. So it will form M positive, XeF7 negative. So these are the reactions with phosphorus pentafluoride and with metal fluorides. Now we will discuss the structure of xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. So we start with xenon difluoride. So in xenon difluoride, the xenon is the central atom and the fluorine are side atoms. Now in xenon, the valence electrons are 8. Out of these 8 electrons, 2 will participate in the bond formation with these 2 fluorine atoms and 6 electrons are left. That means we are left with 3 lone pair of electron. So according to Vesper theory, when we have 2 bond pair, 3 lone pair, then the type will become AB2L3, where A represents xenon in this example, B represents fluorine and L represents lone pair of electron. So in xenon difluoride, we have 3 lone pair of electron and 2 bond pair. And when we have 3 lone pair and 2 bond pair, then the shape is linear shape. So xenon difluoride is linear in shape. Next is xenon tetrafluoride. So again, xenon is the central atom and 4 fluorine are side atoms. So again xenon has 8 electron in its outermost shell. Out of these 8 electrons, 4 will form single bond with 4 fluorine atom and here we are left with 2 lone pair of electron. And according to Vesper theory, when we have 4 bond pair, 2 lone pair, then the shape is square planar. So xenon tetrafluoride is square planar. Third is xenon hexafluoride. Now again xenon is central atom and here we have 6 side atoms, that is 6 fluorine atoms are there. So this is the type AB6L type, where A represents xenon, B represent fluorine atoms, B6 means these 6 fluorine atoms, and L represent 1 lone pair. So the xenon hexafluoride, it is distorted octahedral. This is all about the structure of xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. Next is xenon oxygen compounds. So when we do the hydrolysis of xenon fluoride compounds, then we get xenon oxygen compounds. So first is complete hydrolysis of xenon fluoride compounds. First reaction is xenon tetrafluoride when reacts with water. Here the compound is XeO3, which is xenon oxygen compound. So this is the first preparation of xenon oxygen compound. This XeO3 is also formed by the hydrolysis of XeF, that is, when we do the hydrolysis of xenon hexafluoride, that is complete hydrolysis of xenon hexafluoride will give xenon trioxide, that is XeO3. Next is if we do the partial hydrolysis of xenon fluoride compounds, that is XeF6 plus H2O. So here again we are getting xenon oxygen compounds, and the second reaction is when we treat xenon hexafluoride with 2 molecules of water. Here we are getting XeO2 F2 plus 4HF. So these are the reactions of complete hydrolysis and partial hydrolysis of xenon fluoride compounds. Here we are getting XeO3, which is xenon oxygen compound, and this reaction also we are getting xenon trioxide, that is xenon oxygen compounds. So again we can explain the structure of XeO3 and XeOF4 on the basis of Vesper theory. When we draw the structure of XeO3, it is pyramidal in shape and it is colorless explosive solid, whereas XeOF4 is square pyramidal and it is colorless volatile liquid. So this is all about the structure of XeO3 and XeOF4. Now we will discuss the uses of group 18 elements. Now first is uses of helium. Helium is a non-inflammable and light gas, hence it is used in filling balloons for meteorological observations, that is, to record the data of atmosphere and weather conditions. It is also used to produce powerful superconducting magnets which form an essential part of NMR, that is nuclear magnetic resonance spectrometers, and MRI, that is magnetic resonance imaging. And these MRI systems are used for clinical diagnosis, whereas this NMR spectrometer is used in the identification of structure of organic compounds. So these are the two different techniques, and helium is used to produce powerful superconducting magnets, and these are the basis of these two. It is also used as diluent for oxygen in modern diving apparatus because of low solubility in blood. So helium has very low solubility in blood, and that is why it is used as a diluent for oxygen. Neon, it is used in discharge tubes and fluorescent bulbs for advertisement display purposes, and also neon bulbs are used in botanical gardens and in greenhouses. Next is uses of argon. So argon is mainly used to provide inert atmosphere in high temperature metallurgical processes and for filling electric bulbs. So these are the uses of group 18 elements. Now after doing this, you can solve NCERT exercise question number 30, 33, 35, 37, 38, 39 and 40. And NCERT in text questions, question number 32, 33, 34. So this is the homework for today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.